Everyone knows about the Yamaha NS-10, your grandma, your uncle, your dad, pretty much everyone, as long as they worked in a studio. But did you know that the Yamaha NS-10, it had a little brother? Did you know that? If I hold the NS-10 the whole time, this gives the video more authenticity. Let's start with the backstory of the old NS-10. So originally when the NS-10 was introduced in 1978 over in Japan, it was really marketed as a hi-fi speaker and was not really intended for studio use, but their popularity was increased apparently when there was an engineer that was working in Japan, listened to these speakers and liked them, so they brought them back to the States. You know, apparently from there more and more engineers heard about them, and by the time that Yamaha stopped making them in 2001, there had been about 200,000 of these units produced, I believe. If you go to most recording studios that have been around for a while, like they'll have a set of these on the meter bridge. Meter bridge. Meter bridge. Now these things don't necessarily sound good. Basically, they're really mid-forward. They don't have like tremendous bass response. Basically, it's been said that if you can get a mix to sound good on these, they'll sound good on most speakers. That was the philosophy behind mixing on NS-10s anyway. So when I saw these little Yamaha NS-10s at a thrift store about 7 years ago, I was really intrigued. You know, they kind of look like NS-10s, and certainly on the back, it said NS-10MMT, so they actually share some similarities. They do have that same mesh middle grille and the white cone, you know, so it does harken back to the NS-10. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see if these sound anything like NS-10s. So here we go. Hey, I wanted to take a quick side tangent from my backyard. I don't know if my neighbor's out. Just to tell you a little bit about Patreon. Patreon enables creators like me and others to spend more time making videos for you. So if you at all enjoy what I'm doing here, you can click the link below or above down in the description to support what I'm doing. Thanks. It's so not centered. I'm not like in the center of the speakers, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how big of a deal this is, you know? We're all just trying to survive here. So I don't think these necessarily sound like these, the NS-10s. The NS-10 MMTs don't necessarily sound like the NS-10s. And I think you also be able, I don't think pink noise is always the best representation of how a speaker actually sounds. Like it's not, if you look at a speaker and its pink noise is like ruler flat, doesn't mean like it actually sounds that way. But it's just a tool to measure things, to compare things against each other. And so you can see that like this does not have necessarily the same characteristics as the actual NS-10 that a lot of people are used to. So that's an interesting thing to note. I could see in a world that actually with some where this starts to get more complicated and probably not worth it, but like I could see a world in which you make this sound like an NS-10 by using some sort of outboard EQ or DSP prior to your amplifier, and you could actually get this to sound closer to the sonic signature. But the thing that makes the NS-10 what it is isn't necessarily just about matching an EQ curve. There's certain designs about the box and the woofer and the tweeter and there's so many physiological, that's a human thing, I feel like. Physics. There's so many things that have to do with physics in the NS-10, which, you know, that's why you can't just take the EQ curve from one speaker and put it in another and expect the speaker to sound exactly the same. There's just different physics in the way that they're built and been engineered. And you might be able to at least get the mid-range part out of this into something like this. Well, I would say that concludes the video. So I just want to say, if you all found this video interesting, helpful, in any way bettering your life, please don't feel obligated to subscribe, but I sure would like it if you did. And like this video, and give a thumbs up. Those are actually the same thing, so no worries about doing both of those things, because either one will get to the same location and destination. Oh my god, I have ADHD really bad. All right, I should actually go.